Cheerio, bonjour, allo. Yes, I am angry. I just made this stinking video, and for whatever reason, Megan Kelly's voice didn't come through. And it's probably because I was wearing my AirPods. You guys know, old people like myself, we do not understand this technology. So, the worst part about all of this is I'm always funnier the first time. So if you don't laugh as hard, remember that had I been more tech savvy, you would have laughed more in the last video. Okay, here's Megan Kelly. I love Megan Kelly. I think she's gorgeous. She has this unique ability to grow hair like a weed. I mean, no joke. This woman can cut her hair, up to her ears, and then 2 months later it's below her shoulders. It's amazing, and I am nothing but envious. uh, I'm not a big fashion person, but one thing Megan does do, she wears clothing with cutouts. The shoulders will be cut out, or right above her bosom will be cut out, and I always think that's weird. And I also think, do you ever mess up when you're putting your shirt on? You put your arm through that, shoulder hole, and you're, oh my goodness. But again, I do not purchase the same price level of clothing that I'm sure Megan Kelly purchases. So, love Megan. Oh, see, the space never works the first time. You all would think I would have figured that out by now, right? But no, I'm dumb.
He
Look
was
how gorgeous
33.
she is.
He strangled his wife, 34-year-old Shannon Watts, who was 15 weeks pregnant with their third child. Who
Hey,
was a boy.
wait, I
They
just
had two
picked up on
girls.
something. So she just said he was 33 and he strangled his wife, who was 34. So Chris had an older woman the same way Prince Harry lost his virginity to an older woman.
They had a 3-year-old
What is Meghan Markle? Elderly?
daughter, Celeste, and a 4-year-old daughter, Bella.
Gorgeous.
And this guy, this relationship, this whole story so confuses me. Again, I've gone down the rabbit hole on this. Look at him.
You have not really gone down the rabbit hole, or you would understand exactly what happened in this relationship the same way the majority of the people who watch my channel understand. That's why they watch this channel. Come on,
guy.
girlfriend.
He had a job. It wasn't like a surgeon, like we're gonna get to with Jeff McDonald.
I think that's crass. You don't have to be a surgeon. This man worked hard. He made a good income. I think that's a little crass, Megan.
He worked at the Weld County oil site, and she had a good job too. A middle class family.
She had a good job too, and I think that's TOO2. Give me a thumbs down if you think she had a good job. My goodness, Chris made about $65,000 a year, maybe 63. And where I live, man, you're not doing very well if that's what you're making. But I believe where they lived, it was okay. I really should look up the medium income for Frederick, Colorado. But Shannon was spending every penny he made to purchase herself into the $80,000 a month club in her little MLM. Hang on, I'm looking it up. Frederick, Colorado, but we have to look up 2018 because in 2018 eggs cost 99 cents a dozen, and today they cost, where I live, about $6 a dozen. Then, oh my goodness, this is going to shock you guys. I have to make sure it's current. The median income in Frederick, Colorado is $107,000. Okay, this is 2020. We all know who was still president in 2020, and we were all doing very well. Remember, gas was about $1.27 a gallon. America was 100% oil independent, and we had worldwide national security. We also had, oh my goodness, I need to start a political channel. Anyway, if you deny that it was better back then from now, then my goodness, I feel sorry for you. Send me an email so I may educate you. She didn't have a job at all. That 411 Now dude who annoys the heck out of me just because he's so accurate and he's done so much research and hired so many professionals. But dude, Shannon was not making the 60 some thousand dollars that you claimed she was. You dumb. I need to shut up, don't I? Oh my goodness.
Had some financial problems, but not overwhelming. And
They had some financial problems, but not overwhelming. Okay. 3 years prior, they had declared bankruptcy, which means everything is eliminated. Okay, now, Shannon had student loans, which I'm not really sure why she had any student loans because she didn't appear to have an education. I was very fortunate. My folks paid for college. But I went to college before the government got involved and started student loans, and therefore tuition went up. Oh my goodness, I am getting political again. I need to get back to just murder. Okay. They had terrible financial problems. They paid their electric bill, their water bill, and the gas bill. Well, the water bill is only quarterly. They paid these bills on the cutoff date every single time. That was in the discovery. They had her father had co-signed on a $3,500 credit card for her, which why, Frank? If your 31 or 32-year-old daughter comes to you and says, "Dad, I need you to co-sign a credit card," you say, "Well, honey, let's sit down and look at your money, your incoming and outgoing, and let's see what we can do." You do not just co-sign. But maybe if you were a drunk for the first 19 years of her life, you do. And I think that's part of why her parents put up with her garbage. Her parents were enablers. I've said this. My father would have called me out. Oh my goodness. Okay. She went away for 5 weeks. Look, guys, we all know this. And Chris started opening the mail, receiving the mail. And that's when he opened the DirecTV bill and saw total due. Now I'm making this up, but I had DirecTV. Total due $402.61. Current payment $201.30. How about my math there? Pretty good, eh? Fairfax County educated. That's when electric bill, same thing. The total due was a lot. Current payment was a third. This is what you have to pay to keep your electric bill on. But then he received paperwork about the lawsuit and the judgment from the HOA, or I guess they didn't have a judgment yet, but they would have. $52 a month was their HOA payment. That is nothing. That is nothing. I bought my first home in 1998, and our homeowners was like, I believe it was about 148. If you want to go dig through and see if the last time I said it was 149, go ahead. But it was right around there. That was 1998, 24 years ago. For you and Ria Linda, we just took 2022 minus 1998. Okay, got it. Really, that's nothing. What do you think it cost to get her nails done? Okay, I'm going to say it was $35, and I always tip $10 and always tip in cash. Do not make these people, because I have had male manicurists as well, do not make them tell the government extra money. So 35, and that's my guess, plus 10 for the tip, 45. Well, add 7, that's 52. My goodness, I am impressing you all with my math, aren't I? I already can tell. Yep, you're impressed. So you skip your nails 1 month, bimbo, or you let the nail bill go. Because I believe she had acrylics, and I've never seen them looking raw. I need to get my nails done every 2.5 weeks, but I don't. I do it about every 4. And it's not because my mortgage isn't paid, it's because I don't enjoy that. I'm not a person who enjoys sitting in the salon. And I don't talk to my woman. I let her know right away. I would rather be listening to something. But stop doing your nails for a while, Shannon. I need to shut up, don't I? Put your family first. My goodness. I apologize, you guys.
Invasive.
I'm salty because the whole first one didn't go and I'm doing it again. But now I'm a little more worked up.
Had what looked like the perfect family. The neighbors in the Netflix documentary, I think it was, described it. They were saying, like, I watched Chris Watts. I thought, I gotta up my game as a parent. I gotta spend more time with my kids. Gotta get out there and throw the ball with him. Look at him.
You know something else the neighbors said? They only saw Chris outside with the girls. 2 or 3 neighbors said we never ever saw her outside
This
with the
guy.
girls.
He, according to the reports, was the more subservient one.
I like
I'm not sure
Megan's
if that's the right
lipstick.
word, but she seemed more dominant than he did. She seemed more in control
Just a little
in terms
bit.
of family decision making. This is where I want to live.
She was all in control. He had no access to the banking. And yes, he didn't BS that about he didn't have access on his phone. He did not. Discovery says that. Uh, okay, I've already said in a minute we're going to get to Shannon being barren and unable to have children.
This is what
I'll
I
get
want
to
for the
that point
girls.
then.
This
The
is what I
wind
want you
is
to do.
crazy in
And he
DC.
seemed more of like a yes man than someone who is engaging in coercive control. This is my layperson's opinion. You can take this apart in a second. That's my approach.
I think he was in coercive control and he didn't even realize it.
My takeaway watching it. Then he loses a bunch of weight. Never a good sign in a marriage.
Now that is true. If your husband starts running and things are going different, maybe pay attention. So, on a side note, Doctor, what's up? You do not need to look. I love her eyes there, her eyeshadow. I do not know how to do that. If you're able to, I'll do a face live, or what's it called? Something where you look, it says Star Trek. You're talking to the person on the phone, live face or something. I'll do that. I would love to learn how to do a little bit of eyeshadow. I'm not a big makeup person. I wear it on Sundays when I go to church and then when we go to an event or something. But I would love to learn how to do that. If you know how to do your makeup, please reach out to me.
Loses a bunch of weight and starts an affair with a coworker, and his wife Shannon goes away with the girls for 6 weeks to visit
5.
family in North Carolina.
5.
He falls for this other woman pretty hard. And I think it's from his Google
She said hard.
searches that he was Googling things like, when do you say I love you? Like, what does it feel like to be in love? Weird searches that a normal person would not be doing.
Or a 34-year-old man who finally realizes he's actually never been in love and he has questions. He doesn't understand. Yes, they are odd searches, but this man was confused. Remember, Shannon walked out on the attorney. Walked out. She left in the middle of the night, and then 3 weeks later, I believe he got a certified letter with the divorce papers. So, Shannon wasn't normal. And then she found Chris, who frankly was overweight, not a good looking man. He had those stinking, stupid little wire glasses on his face. But then she found out he had $20,000 in his bank account. Okay, you guys realize $20,000 is nothing. Nothing. I could blow through $20,000, in a few days. Do you remember that Richard Pryor movie where he had to spend $1 million in 30 days or something? Only old people will remember that. But $20,000 is nothing. But to Shannon Watts, oh my goodness, she had just hit the jackpot.
That are definitely a flag. And then the wife comes back from the business trip at 2 a.m.
It was not a business trip. Shannon went away for 5 weeks because they were unable to afford daycare. because Shannon absolutely not is going to take care of these children from when they wake up in the morning until 3:30 or 4 o'clock when Chris gets home. That is why she went to North Carolina. Hey, here's another side note. So they have Nico. He's growing right now. He's down there cooking, and she's driving a Lexus that the company is paying for. That I guarantee she was purchasing. She had to have 3 new recruits every month to get her $800 car allowance, and the car allowance did cover insurance. Car insurance. I guarantee she was funding at least one of those because it's very difficult. Shannon was a great salesman, but it's very difficult to find 3 fools every month. Can you imagine if someone says, "I want to sign up," and she said, "Well, would you wait 6 days?" You understand? And I guarantee she did. She said, "Wait 6 days because the new deal comes in 6 days." But actually, 6 days was her new, monthly time clock thing. Okay, my point. How are they going to fit 3 car seats in the back of that Lexus? So, well, actually, they rarely went out as a family. And back when my kids were little, we actually tried to go out to dinner at least every Friday or Saturday night. So, what are we going to take 2 cars? And Chris's truck is for work purposes only. So they can't take that. They're going to take an Uber. I mean, oh my goodness, they were going to have to buy a new car or trade that car in and get something else. These are things that this bimbo never thought about. You're going to spend more money on food. I was very fortunate. I do not believe, no, I know, I never purchased baby formula one time in my life. I used the gift that God gave me. And God did not give our Secretary of Transportation that gift. But he still took 2 months off. And his official response was because he was breastfeeding. But I actually did breastfeed. I never, ever once purchased formula. These are things Shannon's not thinking about. Let's have a 3rd kid, and she blames it on Chris. No. Oh, my
She'd been
goodness.
with the girlfriends on a true business trip.
I'm all
Comes
worked
back
up.
at 2 in the morning. And what we know is now, because he ultimately confessed, he strangled her to death. They had a fight. They had some sort of an argument.
Not really
He
a fight.
strangled her to death. He says he took his 2 daughters,
The proper grammar is he said.
who were alive in the back seat of the truck, over their dead mother's body, which was on the floor of the back seat.
Okay, this is the part that kills me. I do not understand. You guys have all watched, what's his name? Oh, Armchair Detective. You see Chris pick each girl up and put each child in the back of the truck. And then, yes, and our girls lying on the floor with trash bags over each side. And after Chris left the driveway, Shannon defecated herself, which is normal. That's what happens. And the girls could smell it. I do not understand why he didn't pull the car over on the side of the highway in the pitch black. Oh my goodness, I'm tearing up. And just pick each girl up and not push physically, but just put them on the ground and say, "Ladies, run or stay here. Daddy will be back." And these girls trusted their father. They would have stood right on that highway and the very next car would have come by. And that's what kills me the most about this case, is that he did not do that. He had 45 minutes to sit and think about this. I know you guys all feel the same way.
Smothered his 3-year-old and his 5-year-old. The 5-year-old said, "Are you going to do to me what you just did to Cece, the 3-year-old?"
Yeah, that creeps me out. I do believe, though, that he went to try to kill the girls before he killed Shannon. Remember, if you've never strangled someone before, which I have not, Maria, have you ever strangled someone before? Let me know below. Chicka head, let me know below. But a person's going to pass out and look or appear dead when they're actually just unconscious. I fully believe his story. that he did that to both children, thinking they were dead when they were actually not. And then Bella walked into the room. Okay, you guys, both girls had black eyes. And it wasn't, they can tell if it's a black eye just from the veins busting or a punch. Neither children were punched. He thought he murdered, oh my goodness, it's so difficult to even talk about. He thought he murdered the daughters, and then he did go and murder Shannon. So, Bella, I do not believe Bella witnessed any of that murder. I think she finally woke up and, walked into the room.
And said, Daddy, no. It's too horrific to even really conjure.
It absolutely
And
is.
he did it anyway.
Right?
He did it anyway.
Doesn't
and
make sense.
He disposed of the daughters' bodies in the oil tanks.
Makes no sense.
Put one in one oil tank and one in the other. So gruesome he could even describe the sound of their little bodies hitting.
He did. He said that Bella's, I believe it was Bella's tank had less water oil mixture in it, and the splash was different. And man, it's almost giving me goosebumps. That is creepy.
The liquid. And buried his wife in a shallow grave nearby. Yeah. This guy who had friends, who again was perceived.
He really didn't have. He had a friend, Matt, the dude he had seen in San Diego 5 or 6 weeks prior to when Shannon went to go have her in-laws and her parents take care of her children. I believe Matt was really his only friend. He ran with Nick, but he didn't have any friends. He was the only parent in the home.
Some as his model father, who doesn't have some long criminal history.
No criminal history.
I don't get it. And
I don't think
I'm desperate to get it.
He had a speeding ticket.
Yes, and I think the way you describe it, again, people should remember what he did and what he said he did too. And he has changed his narrative at least 4 times, but
he has.
The way that he described putting their bodies into that oil tanker, I believe that version of what happened. And for us all to think about the fear and the
I do too, and you guys realize he had to stuff Bella in that. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That the children must feel, having seen what happened. I believe Bella saw what happened to
this woman has no lips, just like our girl doesn't.
Mum.
It's not really her fault.
But then having this sense that these horrific things are going to happen to you at the hands of your daddy, someone who's meant to care, love you, and look after.
I love going to Walmart just to see the people.
To you, and those
and it's much cheaper than Target.
So
Target.
And I think when
I haven't been to Target. Shoot, 20 years. I happened to go. I saw some challenge. This is when I was on Facebook, and it said, "Go buy 10 products from Target, and go buy the 10 identical products from Walmart, and see how much difference your bill was." And my bill was something like $2.46 cheaper. And I said, holy cow. And I have never been to Target since. Plus, you walk into Target and you end up buying crap you do not need. They have so many cute things that would look great on your, a bench or something. Yeah, man, don't go to Target. It's,
You understand how the media characterized him as a good father.
He was a great father.
Perfect, dutiful husband.
He was a great father.
Different videos of Shannon, because her business was on Facebook, of her, and she was described as bossy,
business,
this nagging woman, and
that's
too
funny.
Strong. And
she was.
Instantly, we get into the victim blame and the empathy of.
It's not victim blame. It's being aware. This is really what I hope. For all I know, someone watching this. Look, I sound like Bobby Brady. Whoa! When it's time to change, you rearrange. Only you old people will get that. It's not, for all I know, someone watching this is going to say, you know what? Maybe I won't sign up for another MLM. Shannon was in multiple MLMs. She was in that LuLaRoe thing. And those clothes are hideous. And here's me being a female dog. Ladies, leggings are a privilege, not a right. If you're overweight, don't wear leggings. Just don't. Lose weight. Do your push-ups. I trust you've done your push-ups today. And yes, I'm being snotty, but Your heart only has so many beats, and my goodness, the government is trying to kill us. Google pictures beaches in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. You will not find a single fat person out there. Really weird, isn't it? But there could be someone watching this saying, you know what? Maybe I need to go work at the Wawa or the 7-Eleven. There's nothing wrong with working there. You're going to bring home an income and you will not have to pay to go to work. You'll go to the grocery store and get a job. I would love to be the seafood person at the grocery store. But no, I'm a hero. I'm a mailman.
See what he did. And that is everything wrong with the way these cases are not only understood, but the way that they're talked about in the media. And when we think about when Chris and Shanann first got together, she was very ill with lupus.
No, she wasn't.
And
The autopsy 100% proved she did not have lupus. If you're new to my channel, thank you, welcome. Go look. I compared the autopsy to real things. Another thing about lupus, when you have lupus, you cannot be in the sun. You know, I have a comment saved on my phone, which I won't look, but someone wrote me who has lupus. And that was one thing the woman said is I'm never in the sun. I cannot be. And how many pictures of Shannon just shouldn't have lupus. I'm very grateful that the Lupus Foundation earned some donations from her scam.
she was heavily dependent on him. She thought he was her savior. And
She was heavily dependent on him. She didn't earn one penny. She didn't have anything without him.
she said,
Oh, I'm getting
and she
too
couldn't
worked
have
up.
got by without him.
She
So the
couldn't.
relationship dynamic was very
Bobby
different.
Brady.
She was wholly dependent on him. They
Absolutely.
got married. She didn't know whether she could have children, and then by a miracle,
Okay, it wasn't a miracle. She absolutely made it up that she didn't know if she could have children. This woman was not barren. You remember, they decided to try to have a baby, and the first month it didn't work, and then the second month it did not work. And so she bought him a $7,700 supercharger for his Mustang, which none of us have ever seen because they had to sell it to pay bills, regardless. So 2 months. Month 3, she gets pregnant. Okay, so now fast forward, whatever, 13 months, and they decide to have another baby. She got pregnant with Cece immediately. And then apparently what Chris says with Nico, they did it once or twice and she got pregnant. This woman lied about being barren. 100% lied. So if you're moving you and your future husband because they purchased this house before they were married, and no, Shannon's name was not on the house, and I assume there was probably a reason for that. You say, sweetheart, let's move outside of Frederick just 2 miles and let's get 5 or 10 acres, you know, maybe a nice 2 or 3 bedroom house. But then you can have an extra garage. And I do say garage instead of garage. And it's a 35-year joke, so get over it. That's what you do. You can put a nice swimming pool. You have all this acreage. But no, Shannon went to the fanciest neighborhood at the time in Frederick, and I have looked that up, and bought the very biggest model home. Okay, well, if you're barren and you cannot have children and your husband is a car guy, well, that doesn't really make sense at all. At all. The second home we purchased we had a 2-car garage hooked to the house, and then we had a separate 2-car garage because my husband was a mechanic. And we probably had about, let me think, just a little over, I think it was 1.25 acres. But we purchased this home because it had the second garage. I also never made my husband sell. We're a Chevy people. We're not Ford people. On a quiet night, you can hear a Ford rust. But I didn't make my husband ever sell his car because I couldn't get the DirecTV bill paid.
because of lupus, she had 2 children, 2 girls, and then the relationship dynamic started to change.
You all notice this woman keeps looking at her notes, which means 45 minutes ago, she did some research on this case.
And she started to work more. And yes, they had debt, and that's another important point. But the dynamic shifted.
How was
and
she
she
working?
was working. She was going out. She was no longer as dependent on him. And
That's not true.
as you described, you know,
She
the
was
dynamic
100%
shift, and that can
dependent
happen
on
in
him.
a relationship. He then starts.
I don't want to hit pause
drive
because I'll get on a
program, which is
tangent.
something that she's advocating for as well as part of her business, and he starts to lose all this weight. And then he starts to feel himself more, and he's taking this introvert is now becoming someone quite different that even Shannon said that she didn't know. He was taking videos of himself working out.
Because this introvert met a woman who showed him attention and appreciation and made him feel as if he were important. And he had never experienced that in his lifetime.
And then he meets Nikki, and he falls for her hook, line, and sinker. He's writing her these love notes at a time where Shannon is sensing that things are going terribly wrong in their relationship. And then she finds out she's pregnant. And maybe that pregnancy is used as a way to try and bring them closer.
I don't
but of course,
agree.
what we know is that babies
I
don't
don't agree
tend to
with
bring
that.
you closer. They tend to add more
They were
stress
fine.
and pressure.
They were absolutely fine until he met NK and he realized that he did matter and his opinions did matter. I believe they were perfectly fine until he met NK. Overall, I have zero problem with NK. Chris and Shannon went to San Diego for a Thrive business trip that cost them $1,300 or so. If he told NK he was going with his wife, then yes, there's my issue. But I'm going to tell you that I believe he told NK he was going to visit his best friend Matt, who was stationed in San Diego. And if he told her that, because NK really insisted that they get together once he returned from San Diego. I've convinced myself of that. I don't have any problem with NK. This dude lied to her all day. We all remember the very first time you were really in love. Shoot, doesn't matter. It's the first time or the third time. You want to believe everything this person is telling you.
And he, by other people's opinions, didn't want the baby. They had a gender reveal party that was cancelled, and she sensed that he didn't want the baby. Even the video.
The gender reveal party was he did not want his entire life shown live on Facebook.
Them announcing the baby.
I have to go check on the
just
boy.
Clearly wasn't happy about the whole thing.
That's true.
You can say he was shy on camera, but you can see that he was not excited about it. He cancelled this gender reveal. He was seeing Nikki. He wanted to invest in that relationship. He told Nikki that he had separated or was separating from Shannon.
He did.
Which wasn't happening. And Shannon goes off. You know, she's writing these letters to him saying, I'll do anything to fix it. Tell me what you need, Chris. And he's withholding sex from her. He is complete.
Okay, that's not true at all. Well, okay, maybe a little bit. She did try. I'm trying to think. Had they left yet? She sends her. This is weird. Okay, she sends her friend a message. Says, "I'm taking a night shower," and he knows what that means. Can you even imagine living in a world where you only have sex if you've taken a shower right before? Okay, that was creepy, but. And then she did try to touch him. I don't know that they tried to be intimate, but when the 1 week at the beach, when her parents were there, can you imagine going on vacation with your parents every year? But I guess that's what you have to do when you cannot afford the beach house. So she did turn him down there. But no, she was gone for 5 weeks. He claims right before she left, they both admit that they did have relations in the pantry. I think that's cool. I think that's kind of cool. Years and years ago, we would do it behind the kitchen island, and the kids were just in the living room watching television.
Out of the relationship, and she's desperate to restore the relationship, and his attention is elsewhere. He's doing these Google searches. When do you tell someone that you're in love with them, or how? Well, that tells you about shallow affect. It's not really a feeling because you just say it and you do it. You don't research it to
He had never
understand it.
experienced it.
So that's the
Yes.
shallow affect.
No, he had
What do
never
you make of his-
experienced it.
This is my own antiquated notion of control. I didn't feel like he was
Antiquated.
the one controlling.
Great word.
Because she's writing him these notes like, "I've been gone for 6 weeks. You called me twice. You'd think a man would want to talk to his wife and daughters." And he writes back, "You're so right. I'm so sorry. I love you, honey. I'll do better." All of his notes back during that 6-week period. And this is all leading up to the murder. It's right before he murders them.
This is true.
He's using the emojis
Because he's
really kind of sweet.
he's a
yes,
female
ignoring
cat.
her, but when
P
he texts,
blank blank blank
it always
Y.
seems to be from like a beta role. That's just how I read
He's been a beta the entire
those
time.
texts.
I almost think that both of these women did 12 minutes of research before this. Look at Megyn Kelly's wedding ring. Hey, look. Oh, that's gorgeous. I love it.
And I found it alarming is it just didn't sound like someone who's going to go commit a murder. I don't know.
For Valentine's Day, I got a beautiful Tissot watch.
Somebody sounds like who's going to go commit a triple murder, but I just don't picture them using emojis. And so where am I going wrong?
You're not.
Well, they tend to be very cool, calm, and collected, actually.
Who's
Every
they?
case I've seen, when we've had
Her.
even CCTV footage of them in the act, it's cool, calm, and collected.
What?
But where you're going wrong, I wouldn't say you're going wrong. You're interpreting what you're seeing, but my interpretation would be he's managing her. He's manipulating her. He's keeping her at arm's length, telling her what she needs to hear
Okay,
to get off his
yes.
back
I
because
agree
he's
with that.
cheating on her. He's going sand dune surfing with Nikki.
Right. He's actually enjoying life for the first time in 8 years. But yes, okay, I agree. He's appeasing her.
Clearly wants to be with Nikki. He's telling
I think
Nikki
this woman's
that he's going
English,
to
not
leave
Australian.
Shannon. Nikki suspects he's cheating on her.
What?
Because as women, we know. We
No,
know
she
the
doesn't.
signs. We may
Nikki, no. I do not believe for once. Nikki never thought he was still being with Shannon.
tell people about it, but Shannon actually did. She did go to that conference after that trip, and that's where she was when she came back at 1 o'clock or whatever it was. She had found that on their credit card, because they didn't have much money, there was a
Isn't that creepy? Okay. If you and your partner, spouse, whatever, have a relationship where your banking transactions flash up on the other person's phone and you're okay with that, great. I think that's really, really creepy. I cannot, oh my goodness.
something like $60 that the lazy dog had been spent. She
Spot on.
He tipped the waitress on the credit card, which meant the waitress had to pay tips. Always tip in cash.
she was cheating.
I need
He
a
was cheating
political
on
channel.
her. I believe that she came back to confront him because she came back early, and her best friend said she wasn't.
No, she did not. She actually came back late.
At the conference, she was just really out of sorts. She wasn't
Right.
eating. She was really upset.
That's
and
exactly
I believe
right.
She came back
Because she found out things she should not have found out.
to confront him.
Yeah, goodness.
And it's at the point of being confronted. He says that he pushed her off of him, or he got himself off of her. And I believe that they were having sex. There was some attempt to restore the relationship, but his account.
He did
said,
not. They
I
had
told her I
sex.
didn't love her and I didn't
They had sex because she said, if you're not cheating on me, bang me.
be with her anymore. And I pushed her away, and I found my hands around her neck.
Okay, that's not true at all. Yes, both of these women spent 12 minutes researching it. You and I know more about this case than these women do combined. And I think Megyn Kelly's brilliant. They had relations, and he rolled off of her. I apologize. And then he went and got ready, and he says that. He said that. Sorry. Terrible grammar. And then, after he was ready, they started talking. And that's when he climbed up on top of her and kind of straddled her. Now, I'm little, you guys. I was 99 pounds this morning, 99.1 this morning. I couldn't handle that. You'd have to be on my hips or I would not be able to breathe. It would not be a situation for me. However, they were fine. And they started talking. And then the moment she said, "You're never going to see the kids again," he put his hands around her neck. Man, I don't, she did not deserve this, but, and you do not use your children. I said, you do not use your children as pawn. What is wrong with these women? I hear very few times men do this. What is wrong with women who do this?
That account is
They're
inauthentic
both your
because you
children.
don't just find your hands around someone's
You're
neck,
both
and
their
it takes
parents.
minutes, not seconds, to strangle someone and asphyxiate them and kill them.
4
and
to
the girls
7.
were shadow sleepers, and I believe one of them came in, and he took those
The girls were shallow sleepers. Well, yes, they were, because between 6:15 and 6:30 the night before, they had had Benadryl and Tylenol PM. I did learn that it's not just Tylenol. She was giving them Tylenol PM, and these children were such shallow sleepers that if you opened the garage door, it would wake them up. You do not. I've told you guys this before. Now I have my own regular route now, so. But before, when I was a mailman and I ran different routes, if I saw the sign that said, "Do not ring the bell, baby sleeping," and I could see a camera, I'd almost fall against it. You cannot have your child be that delicate of a sleeper that ding dong wakes them up.
That was all.
My second husband, he and his first wife used to put the kid in the car every night to get the kid to fall asleep. The kid lived with me. Within 5 days, we had that fixed.
Him, and it may not have been someone that was
Parent
something that
of
was
the year.
premeditated, but it unfolded. And the worst thing that he then did was load Shanann into the car and load the two girls into the car.
Very terrible.
And he had 45 minutes.
She had a trash bag on her feet and a trash bag on her head. And a few minutes into the ride, she defecated herself, which is completely normal because your muscles are now all retracting because there's no blood going to them to keep them working. And the children smelled it.
To make the right
and Chris
decision.
smelled it as well.
But he took those two girls with their mother dead in the car, and he then strangles them and asphyxiates them one by one and then disposes of their body as if they're rubbish.
Why did he not pull the truck over? Hug the girl, say, "I love you, but you need to run." Or just stay by the highway. Because the very first car that saw two little children would have pulled them over. And that's what kills me. These children trusted this man. They would have absolutely done that.
As if they're just trash.
Look, you did the tough thing.
Okay. So, I hope that I amused you. I was trying to amuse you. There's nothing funny about this story. It's horrendous and terrible. And we just are trying to understand. I have another video to post very, very soon. If you're interested, let me know. If you're still watching right now, I'm humbled. I'm shocked. Thank you so much. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you'd like to throw me a few bucks for my time, my Buy Me a Coffee link is below. Take care, and God bless America.